I just remember I was like, why it smell like that? And then she lifted her arm and I saw a bunch of hair under the. I knew it was time to go back home. All respect. It was time. I had to wrap it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to the most overrated, underappreciated, most viewed, underviewed podcast of all time. Welcome to the Prince of Fresh Air. I'm of course your host, the beloved, the most award recognized, the most charismatic man in entertainment. Beat that, Dwayne The Rock Johnson once again. Welcome back to the episode. We are rocking, we are rolling, we are doing this. It's currently Friday night as we're recording this. So if I seem like I had a couple shots beforehand, no, I'm a God fearing man. I would never do that if you know what I mean. But anyway, this is not about me. This is about my next guest. You know, I've been promised you guys that I'm working on some really cool guests for the podcast, and lo and behold, I have somebody here today. But who is this woman here? Who am I talking to today? Well, no need to fear because the most charismatic man is here to answer your question. So, from the corporate world of tech sales to entrepreneur, featured on the Howard Stern Show, Playboy Radio, Chelsea Lately, Certified Practitioner in Reiki Master, Sound Healing Therapy, Breathwork and Meditation Facilitation, Somatic Energy Healing that she's also currently studying. We'll get into all of that. Currently serving the West Coast, my favorite coast, even though I'm an East Coast guy. But please help me introduce the Graceful Healer, Shannon Grace. Welcome to the podcast.
Yay! That was amazing. Round of applause. And I love your name, by the way, the Prince of Fresh Air. And I love when people are creative in their how they brand things and the name of products or the name of you. And it's just I just oh my God, I'm gonna love this guy. So good job on your name.
Hey, it's all about the algorithm. You gotta play the game,
You do. Hate the player, hate the game.
Hate the game, like Triple H always says. But anyway, this is not about me. This is about you. Like I said, thank you for taking the time to come on. There's a couple things I want to talk to you about. But first, we always got to start off from the beginning. And we don't have to start from the beginning of the time
when I was born.
But this I've talked to numerous amount of people. Predominantly entertainment who were in the corporate world ended up leaving to become entrepreneurs. You, on the other hand, you did the kind of same path. So for you, just talk about how you got into your line of work now, because most people don't leave the corporate 9-to-5 world to become their own business person. Although in 2025 we're seeing more of that. But how did you start your journey?
Yes, great question. And so it's always a journey from point A to point, it's not Z, but I'll say M. But the corporate world is what you're taught in my generation. I am Gen X, and you are taught this is what you do, and you get married, you have 2.5 kids, you get the white picket fence in the house, and you start at corporate, and you move your way up, and you get your put all your money in 401k, and you retire, and then you die. And it's okay, I guess I'm supposed to do that. So I started in corporate, and I did voice over IP tech sales. So it was phones. And so it was before the iPhone, and it was the newest technology, because when you're at a hospital and you're a doctor, or you're a nurse, or you're in Home Depot and you have a desk phone and you leave your desk, nobody can get a hold of you. And so this was the first phone to be on your hip. Wow. And so it was a cool time to be in this space. And so I start there in customer service, and I work my way up very quickly into sales. And then I'm selling the maintenance contracts, the warranty contracts for these phones. So I'm constantly making my numbers. I'm making the bonuses. I'm making President's Club and going to St. John's and getting all the trophies. And it's so much fun. And then I meet my boyfriend And then I get married and then have some kids. And so at that point, once I had my second son, I was like, you know what? I'm paying all my money to the nanny and she's raising the kids. And I want to be a mom. I've always wanted to be a mom. I grew up babysitting and working at a Montessori school. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to stay home. And so I argued with my husband at the time. We're not together anymore, but he wanted me to work. I wanted to stay home. And then I eventually won. And so I quit my job to stay home with my kids. So being at home, it's like way more work than going to a job because it's 24/7 and you're not paid and you're not thanked. And so you get, okay, so this is my job now and I love it. But my brain kept going, okay, there's more, there's more. So I had this idea. I get most of my greatest ideas when I'm working out because you get that fresh oxygen to your brain. And every time I'm working out, new ideas come in. So I'm in yoga class. I come up with an idea for a product. I bring it from concept to market. And so I come up with my own company and my own product. So I have 3 patents, I have a trademark, and I launched and doing my own guerrilla marketing. I got into the Howard Stern show, my product on the Doctors TV show, Chelsea Handler, like all the Playboy radio. Like I would wake up in the morning and I'm like, who is this? Hello. And they're like, oh, hey, this is the Ted and Jim show in Michigan. You're live on the radio. I'm like, oh, hi. And that was my life. And I was like, this is fun. So fast forward to COVID, my business shuts down because nobody's ordering products. I had a couple bad manufacturers who gave me bad product and I didn't have enough capital at that point to do another third round. And then with not a lot of money coming in, with people not spending money during COVID, because they're like, I don't know what's going on here. And I'm not going to buy underwear. They were just in sweats and drinking wine anyway. So my business eventually closed. And so it was forced to close. And so this is where I see a pattern within the universe, within my life, because these weren't conscious decisions of mine. The universe was forcing it on me because I wasn't wanting to close the doors. And there's many times I should have a long time ago. And I was like, no, because it's tied into your identity at that point. I'm like, this is my baby and I brought it from here to here and I invented it. And it's like, it's who I am now. No, it's not your identity. And so it was forced to close. And so I was looking for work and I'm like, okay, I guess I need to go back to the corporate world. It was really hard to get back into the corporate world because being older and then plus being out of work for so long, that gap, even though I was an entrepreneur, I was president, CEO of my own company, I did everything for a company. They don't look at that. They're just like, you have this gap in your resume. And we have these younger kids outside of college coming in, we can pay them less and train them. And so Gen X at that time was so overlooked. And I was like, okay, so I just tried to do odd jobs here and there. I tried to get into med spa sales and sell med spa stuff and stuff for your face. That didn't work out. And then I got into legal recruiting. So I did that and then got hired by a big company. And of course, 6 months later, they got acquired by a bigger company. And so they wiped out the legal division in our one company for their legal division. So we got let go. And then I got hired by a medical recruiting company because when you're in recruiting, you can pivot as the economy, like you can go medical and you just have to learn like the ins and outs of each one. So I went to medical recruiting. That was a smaller company. And he was like, I would love to keep you, but I just can't afford you right now. I'm like, shit. So I got let go again. And then I got hired by this other corporate company to do sales for IT and cybersecurity. So I did that for 6 months. They got acquired and fired everybody. And I'm like, Percy, what is going on? Like, I don't get it. Why am I constantly going to these companies and I'm getting laid off? Like, I'm such a hard worker. I just want to work and pay my bills and like get by. But these companies, for some reason, am I attracting? Because everything's energy. And I'm like, am I attracting this? Like, why am I attracting this? So I need to like sit and look at what's going on. And okay, so I've always been interested in like the esoteric studies of mediumship, psychics, spirit, astrology. And so I started kind of leaning in towards that on my free time. I've always been interested in it since I was a child, but I was like, okay, I learned transcendental meditation. It's where you say a mantra over and over, because I was like, meditation was calling me, and I read all the books about it, and it literally rewires your brain, and it has rewired my brain for the better. So I'm like, so glad I did TM. And then I got pulled into Reiki, and I became a Reiki Master and studied that. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like a drug, at least for me. I'm like, what else can I learn? And so I saw this doctor on TV. He was on Netflix, and he is a somatic energy healer. And his name is Dr. John Amaral, and he was on the Goop Lab, Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop Lab on Netflix. And I was just like, one day, it was, COVID, and I'm like, oh, what is this? Oh, what's the energy healer? So I watch it, and I shit you not, I'm like, that's what I want to do for a living, and that's who I'm going to learn it from. I don't know how it's going to happen, but and I watched it again. I'm like, what is he doing to people? I want to learn that. And I'm like, I just put it in my mind, and I just tucked it away. I'm like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to learn it from him. I don't know how. So I looked him up, and then he does private retreats with his wife. And I moved from Colorado at that point to Orange County. And because I met somebody, and I thought, oh, I met somebody, and this is going to be my husband, and it ended up not working out, thank God. But he brought me to California back. I mean, I was born here, but Colorado really is my home. And so I was in Orange County at that point, and I look up John and Christina Amaral. They're having a one-day retreat in Malibu. So I pay it's not cheap either. So I pay and go do their one-day retreat. I'm like, when are you teaching practitioners? They're like, we don't know. It's sometime in the future. We don't know. We're too busy. And so fast forward to over a year ago, he posted online that, hey, I'm going to teach people a private group. I'm creating this digital platform to teach somatic energy healer, but you need to be in the LA area. And I'm like, shoot, I'm in Orange County. Do I lie? Do I lie and say I'm in LA County? But I'm like, no, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I'm just going to I'm in Dana Point. And then 6 weeks later, I get the DM like, hey, you got picked. And I'm like, no way. I am not only going to learn from Amaral in person, but I got chosen a small select few out of thousands to study with him. And this is meant to be, and this is my chance, because I wouldn't be able to afford to learn from him. It would just be too much money. And so I'm like, okay, I'm volunteering and I have to drive, but I can't believe I'm learning this modality from this man that 5 years ago, I manifested this. Sometimes when you manifest things, Percy, and it's so big, it takes a long time, and you have to go through all these obstacles and all these different pathways to get there, because you're being built up for that big ask. And so it took 5 years to manifest this. And so currently it's been over a year, and now I'm living in the Malibu, Calabasas area. And I moved from Dana Point and been studying with him for the past year. And so now I am a somatic energy practitioner, and I'm not certified yet, because there's so much to learn with this modality. It is very complex, and there's a lot to learn. And you have to develop these skills within yourself in order to be the best practitioner for the person on your table. And so I'm still learning with him and still developing my skills, but I'm working on people, of course. And so it's just like me being laid off. If I wasn't laid off, I wouldn't be able to do this opportunity. And so the universe was putting me in those situations where I had to be let go in order for open doors for me to do this. And so that's how I know I'm on the right path, because the universe will slowly get you there, even though your mind will say, okay, why is this happening to me? And I was in that space. Why is this happening to me? And in retrospect, now that it's kind of clearing out and I can see it's happening, it happened for me. So I can be in this position to work with Amaral and become a full-time somatic energy healer, along with all the other healing modalities that I do. And so I know I'm on the right path, because the universe told me that way by the hardships. And so that's where you have to think when okay, why is this happening to me? You can have to sit down and just quiet your mind and listen to, this is happening to me for a reason, for my highest and best, even though it doesn't feel like it and look like it at the time. So that's where I'm at now. And it took a long time to get there, and very painful lessons as well. But I'm here now and I couldn't be happier.
You know, you said something, painful lessons. I think life is all about the lessons that we learn along the way. Before I transition into, what you're doing on, let me ask you, because there's been a shift, right?
Yeah.
I mentioned this at the top, where we're seeing more and more people not being strangled hold by the corporate world anymore. We're hearing terms like quiet quitting and stuff like this. People are leaving big tech companies, big, Fortune 500 companies to do their own thing. Do you think the old advice that our parents instilled on us, where, like you said, gotta get the family, the white picket fence,
Mhm.
work in the corporate world, do that, until you retire, live the American dream. Do you
Yeah,
think that's dead? Do you think that's long gone?
I do. I do, because like my generation, Gen X, we were kind of seeing beyond that too, because it's like you work forever at a company and then they fire you. And you're like, there's no loyalty here. And then
Mhm.
people would break off from that and start to be an entrepreneur and build a business. But now this younger generation that's coming in, I would say millennial, and then the Gen Z, they're the disruptors. They're here to disrupt what we've been doing for so long that hasn't been working. And so they are quiet quitting. They quit within a year or two because they're smart. They see through the veil, because they will make more money starting a new position with a new company with a new salary, because that company wants you so much. They will give you a bonus, $10,000 or a higher salary than if you stayed with that same company year after year after year. So they figured out the game. And so it's changed now. Now they're demanding more, like, I want to work from home, or I want a hybrid schedule, or I want, fun Fridays or whatever. Like I want to work remotely so I can travel and I'll still get my work done, but don't micromanage me, or else I'm going to quit. And so
Right.
these old crusty people who are just so used to the old ways of doing it, they're just like, what, they have to succumb to these requests, otherwise they're going to have no employees. And so I just feel like this younger generation is disrupting the ebb and flow of the old ways of the hierarchy of the way society kind of constructed for us. And we're like, it doesn't work anymore. And now we're figuring out, my gosh, our food is making us sick. Like everybody I know has food allergies. I do too. I've never had food allergies. Medication, they just want to keep you sick. So being in this space where I'm at, doing energy work, like everything is energy, but it's also doing the somatic energy work. I am now taught everything is emotional. Not everything. I don't want to say everything. Because Western medicine and doctors still have value, and you still need to go to the doctor if you're like having a pain. Like, I don't want to say don't go. But there's layers behind it, because sometimes when you have chronic pain, we're not listening to our bodies because we're so disconnected from nature. We're disconnected from our bodies because we're constantly on our phone, having music. We don't sit in silence and hear this, the birds chirping. We don't hear like the space in between the music. Like, we're just so distracted. Just think of like, if you were to draw like a tornado over your head, that's how we are constantly. And so
Right.
we're in tune with our bodies, and innately our wisdom that we're taught not to listen to, because I just feel like they're wanting to keep us sick and on pills to control us. And I don't want to like go too far off the deep end and like conspiracy theory stuff, but I'm just seeing it now. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're not for us. I feel like we need to like quiet the noise. Like, I don't even watch the news anymore. I can't. It like just weighs on me, and I feel it energetically, and it makes me depressed. And of course I need to know what's going on, and I have way too much empathy for what's going on with people, but I can't handle too much of it. So I have to shut it off and take care of myself. And so, yeah. And it's just very eye-opening. And I think our generation now is the veil is being pulled back, where we can finally see what is happening. So that's where we have to take into our own hands, our own lives and our own health, and not always listen to government and like, you need to do this. And I don't even want to talk about vaccines and all that stuff. Let's just say tune into your body and what it's telling you. If you're craving, like, I don't know, like I listen to my body now and it craves certain foods, not junk food, but like, oh my gosh, I need a piece of salmon tonight. Or like sometimes every once in a while we'll have red meat because my body is like wanting it. And so I listen, or certain vegetables. I'm like, oh, that looks good. I know I need that mineral. Everybody has this innate ability and your body is telling you what you need, but you just need to be silent to hear it and listen to your intuition more. Because the more you follow your intuition, the stronger it'll get. It's just like going to the gym and lifting weights. You have to keep using it. And your body is so smart and it's telling you constantly what's going on. We just override it and take a pill. But if it's layers and layers of like, if you tune in, say you have chronic shoulder pain and you're like, gosh, I'm going to go to the doctor and they give you a pill for it. It's going to stay hurt. The pill is just like a Band-Aid. But if you tune into that part of your body and you touch it and you feel it and you ask it, why are you hurting? And if you sit in silence, it'll tell you. And a lot of the times it'll take you back to that time and space. Say it started hurting a long time ago. Usually that's correlated with an emotional something that happened into your life. And it's your body telling you something's wrong, like you're storing this emotion in your shoulder. And once you tune into that and you feel the emotions associated with that time and space and you release it, then your shoulder doesn't hurt anymore. It's like what I've seen with Dr. Amaril's work and what I'm doing with Somatic Energy Healing. It's mind blowing how it's tied into your body keeps a score. And if you do not release those emotionally charged, if you eat your emotions constantly and you don't express, it gets stored in your body and it shows up as physical pain or disease. A lot of cancers and autoimmune disease. Women have a lot of autoimmune disease because we don't speak up and we constantly eat our feelings and we don't speak because we are taught and conditioned to be a good girl and sit there and be pretty and be seen and not heard. And so we eat a lot of our emotions and it comes up as illness. And so it's just fascinating this work I've seen. It's just the veil keeps getting pulled back for me. And I'm like, there's so much that we don't know that they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know that we can heal ourselves.
Yeah.
Because otherwise Big Pharma won't make money.
That's true. You know,
Yep.
Joe Rogan will love you. I'm telling you right now.
I know that's why I don't want to like go on conspiracy stuff, but like I'll rein it in. But just what I've seen is just amazing. And the work that I've got done by Amaral, because he will have us go onto the table and he'll demonstrate what he's doing on us and we're being filmed. And just my own healing for the past year being on his table, it's just like, it's changed my life. It's changed my life. I'm like, I don't even know where I'd be at if I didn't have this work done to me. And now I'm learning the skills to help other people. I'm just fascinated. It's just amazing.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And this is actually a good segue into what I want to talk to you about because you was talking about intuition earlier. You said sometimes you want a piece of salmon. Well, my intuition is telling me go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac after this. But anyway, let's get back on track here. I'm being
Sometimes
stupid.
you need the junk food. Totally, I'm the same, but it's in moderation. You have to. You're like,
it's only been five. It's only been 5 times this week.
Oh, Percy, no. That's your emotional state wanting comfort.
Yeah.
That is when you need to sit down and be like, why do I want McDonald's like every day? It's your emotional system needing like that pacifier.
No, I was just kidding. I've only had it once this week. I over the summer I had my fill. Now I'm getting back to bringing it back in. I know I was getting all bloated and stuff from it too. But let's talk about for a while we've been talking about Shannon Grace, the mother, the former corporate professional woman, working woman. But now let's talk about the Graceful Healer. And the reason why I'm asking you this is because we're living in a society now where we're seeing these type of things grow. I'm from New York City. I grew up in the projects. A lot of people don't know that, but I did. So
Yeah.
all of this stuff, this wasn't part of some. I didn't know about any of this stuff until
Right.
I lived in LA. I moved to LA in 2019, right after
It's
college.
big in
And
LA. I bet that was a shock for you. You're like, all these hippies.
let me. What? I, I'll say this. All due respect, I'll never
Right.
forget. I went to a local coffee shop right off the 110 highway, and I remember I saw this girl. She came in, and I just remember I was like, "Why I smell like that?" And then she lifted her arm, and I saw a bunch of hair under the. I knew it was time to go back home. All respect, it was time. I had to wrap it up.
You're all, Mom. You know I'm coming home
I need some plain money right now.
right now. I'm terrified.
But I did talk to after, and she was nice, and being in LA, it taught me all of this stuff. Like, I'm still learning. I'm not too familiar with it, but it did open my eyes to this. ASMR everybody talks about, and then I started noticing recently a lot of people incorporating Reiki into into massage therapy and stuff like this. So for people who may not know, including me, who may not be too familiar with it, can you break it down to people and what you do? Because not I think some people may not be too well versed in that type of in what you do.
Right. Okay. So Reiki, let's start with Reiki because it's way more well known than somatic energy healing. And most, if like 1 out of 3 people are like, oh yeah, I've heard of, maybe it's 1 out of 2 now, but it's even on the bigger corporations. I heard it's actually on their list of stuff they're going to pay for insurance. Like insurance, some bigger companies they'll have like massage therapy and Reiki. And I'm like, whoa. So this is like the best time for me to be in this field because a lot of people have heard of it. I do sound healing, like everybody does sound healing. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's kind of being oversaturated at this point. But okay, so Reiki is a very old, ancient Japanese energy healing modality. So you'll hear the word me say modality. It's just a form of healing. So energy healing is a modality. The Reiki is modality. Somatic energy healing is a different modality. Sound healing is a different modality. So when you hear me say that, it's just a different form of healing. So Reiki, going back to that, it's ancient Japanese form of energy healing. So what we do is I draw symbols over your body, and each symbol represents something different. So like a chokure is like your life force energy. And then a seiheki symbol is for your emotional state. And so I choose at that point, like what you need, what you tell me verbally, and then what I feel energetically, what you need. So I'll draw the symbol and it opens up this portal. So I've been attuned for Reiki, meaning the practitioner who taught me and also opened up portals within me. She attuned me. So once I draw the symbols and I bring it in and I channel it in, I bring it into my consciousness. My crown chakra, which is your chakra up here above your head, that's the portal between spirit and us in the 3D and 5D. And that opens up and it channels in the universal energy of love, divine healing. And it comes in through my crown. And then it goes through my body and out my hands. And I can literally feel it go through. And then it comes out. I feel it either as heat or as like buzzing. Sometimes it's like vibrating. Sometimes it'll shock people. Like if they're really sensitive to energy, my hands will like kind of make them jump. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Or people who are just not in tune with their body, they won't feel it. Even though I feel it, I know it's working. They just like, I don't feel anything. And other people are like, And I'm like, so I channel that energy. And so what Reiki does, it's like if you were to try energy healing, that would be my first suggestion because it's so gentle, it's so beautiful. And it leaves you with this sense of peace and well-being. And it also can bring up past memories, like gently though. Somatic energy healing is like the big guns that will bring up a lot of trauma and you need to be okay mentally to handle that. Reiki is different. It's so gentle. It'll bring up past memories. Like I had a client on my table and it was his first session. And so after, and I was like, hey, how did it go? Like, I'm always interested after because I want to hear what's going on with them. Because some people, they have journeys in their head or they see colors, or everybody has a different experience. And it's so fun to listen to like what they were experiencing on the table. Because I know what I'm doing and I'm like, what happened to you? So he was like, oh my God, I had the strangest thing happen. Like when you were on my shin, and for some reason, the shin is a portal. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. But when I go to the shin, a lot of stuff comes up. And he was like, I had this memory from kindergarten and it came up and I was able to deal with that situation within my 40-something-year-old brain. And I was able to process it. And it was just like, what is happening? And I had another memory and another memory, but I was able to process it like right now. And I was just like, that's so cool. So memories will come up for you to process because it's that stored emotion, as I talked about earlier, it gets stored in your body somatically. And when it's time and the energy healer matches that vibration, it'll liberate that energy out of you somatically. And you're able to process that memory and that emotion at that time. And once it gets liberated, it's not that it goes away, it gets integrated. And so it'll no longer have that same charge as like, oh my God, when I had that memory, it put me in fight and flight and it just makes me scared. You no longer have that charge anymore. You think of it because it's part of you, but it just, you're like, oh yeah, that's a memory now. It doesn't have that same like hold on you. And so, yeah, Reiki is very beautiful for that. And then I have volunteered for hospice. And one client was like, that was the best sleep I've ever had in my life after I got the Reiki session from you, Shannon. And so she had like end stage Parkinson's and had a hard time sleeping. So I gave her a session and she was like, I slept the best I've slept my whole life. And so it helps with sleep, anxiety. You just feel like whole again. You're like, I don't know why, but I just feel so good. Like this is the way you're supposed to feel. You are.
Yeah.
So we're living with all this anxiety and all this noise and like too much going on. And so it just clears it out. And the more you get it done, the more your system will be attuned to it. And you're like, oh, I know what's happening. It'll just be like more open. And then you'll start to probably see stuff, colors. The chakra system has different colors. And so when I give Reiki, I see all the colors in my head. And then I do a shamanic practice called backwashing. So I'll take your chakra and I'll spin it backwards. And I'll scoop out the stagnant energy. And I can see in my mind's eye, your third eye, when I close my eyes, it's called your mind's eye, because you're not seeing with your actual eyes, you're seeing it within your, I don't want to say your brain, but kind of.
Yeah.
I see the imagery when I close my eyes. And so I'll see the color and then I'll see how stagnated it is. I can see like, it's like sometimes for people, it's like a gray mist. And I'll have to scoop it out and you fling it outside of their biofield and you get rid of it. And then you keep scooping into it and you don't see it anymore. Or sometimes it's so stagnated. I can see it's like a gray, murky water. And I'm like, wow. And so I just like scoop, scoop, scoop. And then I take in the light of the central sun because the ancient Native American shamans said they believe it is like the most powerful healing energy that you can bring in, the light of the central sun. And then I spin it clockwise. And I usually take them through this process and I say it verbally through this, I kind of like a meditative state, because I feel like if you tell the person what you're doing, it's more powerful and they see it in their mind, the imagery of what you're doing, and they actually feel it happening as you're doing it. So I feel like verbally telling them what I'm doing instead of just doing my thing and be like, okay, bye. They don't know what the hell you just did. It helps them take part in their own healing. So Reiki is very beautiful, and you can combine it with massage or other stuff, because all the practitioner is doing is drawing the symbols, bringing it into their awareness and their consciousness. It's going through their body. And when they're massaging you, it's adding that extra element of like, my God, energetically you're being cleared. And then your muscles are being cleared. It's just like so beautiful.
Yeah, this is fascinating stuff. Like, this is stuff that I don't think I would ever have found out unless I met certain people,
Mhm.
especially in LA. And I remember hearing chakra. I remember I was doing background for this. This is early in my acting career, and I met this hippie dude. Lived in a van, straight true hippie, and he
Yep.
kept saying, chakra dude's all about the chakra dude. And I never understood what he was talking about. I was just like, is this guy nuts? The whole stereotype with hippie. But
Yep.
then I was watching a YouTube video over COVID, and
Yeah.
it was an A-list celebrity. They was doing a video on for a major YouTube channel, and they was talking about that. They was talking about chakra and energy and stuff. And I did some research and I found out about ASMR and stuff like that. People was talking about using chakra and those things. Is ASMR part of that, or is that a separate entity in its own?
Isn't ASMR like when you do the sounds?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different. That's different.
Okay.
That would be more, I would say, of the sound healing modality of like sounds and vibrations. So that would be separate from Reiki, but it could be activating a chakra. So do you know anything about the chakra system? Or just from
I've
the hip?
I've heard of it. I've heard of it. I'm not too familiar with it.
Okay, so there's many, but we're just going to start with 7. And so it starts at the base of your spine, like at your tailbone. And so that's your root chakra. The color is red, and that's your base, like safety, survival, security, like feeling safe in this world. Just think of like your caveman instincts of like, I need food, I need shelter, I need to feel safe and not like a dinosaur is chasing me. That's your base survival. And then going up from there, below your belly button, is your sacral chakra, and that is the color of orange, and that is your creativity and your sexuality. It's your emotions. Above your belly button is your solar plexus, and so see, think of the sun as your power center. Think of yellow like the lion. It's your power, and so it's how you exude power. And then like there's always like the shadow side of it. So if people are like super manipulative and controlling, that's like they need work on their solar plexus and their sacral chakra. And then when people take your power away, you need to call it back, and you can call it back. You're like, okay, whoever is taking my power away from me throughout your lifetime, you can verbally just imagine in your mind and say out loud, I'm going to take my power back. And imagine like these shards of energy, like shards of glass, like shooting back from all time and space, from all dimensions, astral plane, this lifetime, past lifetimes. I'm calling my power back, and just imagine these shards of yellow energy just coming back into your solar plexus, which is they're round wheels. The chakra is a wheel, and it's always spinning. Not always. Sometimes when it's stagnant, it's not, or it's going the opposite way. But anyway, so solar plexus is your power center, and then your 4th energy center is your heart chakra, which is green. And that is your heart space of how you give love and receive love. So a lot of people have their heart chakra closed because it's painful. It's painful to have our heart broken. It's painful to feel that. Heartbreak is like the worst. I don't know what else is like worse. Like, it's just so painful. So a lot of people are, especially at this time and space, a lot of people are alone right now. They're not dating. Their heart is completely shut off. And so a lot of times when you feel pressure in that area, it's your heart chakra. It could be other stuff. Go to the doctor, but it could be your heart chakra blocked. The 5th energy, like I don't want to take that off the table. Like not everything
Right.
is spiritual. Sometimes it is medical and physical, and you need to go. The 5th energy center is your throat chakra. And that is light blue, and that is how you speak your truth, and it's how your authenticity of who you are and speaking your truth is through your throat chakra. The 6th is your 3rd eye in between your eyebrows, and that is indigo blue, dark blue, and that is your 3rd eye. That's your intuition, and that's how your body knows energy before your thinking mind does. Like, have you ever met somebody and you're like, God, they're saying the right things and they're so charismatic, but something is telling me something's off with them.
Yeah.
That's your intuition. And then when they show you who they really are, you're like, oh, I knew it. I knew my intuition told me something was wrong with them. But my thinking mind is like, no, they're so nice and they're so charismatic and they're just saying the right things. Your energy body can sense stuff before your thinking mind. So you got to keep that open and clear and exercise it. The more you use it, the stronger it'll get. And then your seventh energy center is above your head. The color is purple, and that is your crown chakra. And that is your portal to spirit, to your higher self. And so when I say higher self, what that means is your soul. Your soul is not only in your body, it's also a fragment of it is in the ethers. It's up in heaven, whatever you want to call it, speaking to you within breadcrumbs, dreams, synchronicities. Your higher self is your soul whispers like in the wind. And you're like, what did, like, oh, okay. And synchronicities happen. Your soul is doing that. And then it's also, we have, my belief is we have spirit guides and we have angels also guiding us as well. And so you have at least one spirit guide who you incarnated with. They were there when you're born, they're there throughout life, and they're there when you pass. And then you have other spirit guides coming in and out as you grow and evolve. Because, okay, you're in this next phase of life, you're going to start this new journey. Another one will come in that's more aligned with this time and space where you're at, evolution point of your soul. So it's so interesting. But then also I want to say, you have these guides and angels, and they'll help you, but they won't step in unless you ask for help, because we as humans have free will and we can do whatever we want. But if we ask for help, then they can intervene. But if you don't ask, if you don't know they're there, then they're just constantly like, okay, I'm waiting for you to know I'm here. So you can ask for simple stuff like, where are my keys? Can you help me find a parking spot? And start with small things like that. Asking, if you're like, this is BS, I don't know, it seems stupid. Try it. Ask for small things like, help me find a parking spot. Every single time I find one, every time I know which aisle to go down, because I'm like, hey, help me with parking. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to turn down here. And then somebody pulls out. Oh, I'm like, this is just so crazy and fascinating and fun.
Yeah.
So just ask and they will help.
This is fascinating stuff. Like, if you 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would have never believed in any of this stuff. I know, I think over like the last, 5 years, I think with COVID, it changed a lot of people's opinions about stuff. And I think the reason why this is becoming so popular is because for the first time for, my generation, your generation, and even the younger generation coming up now, it was the first time people were able to just stay still, be home, be present.
Forced to, that's why.
And I
stay home.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people didn't know about all of these things because I'll be honest, it feels like time is flying a lot of times and you don't appreciate the small moments. And I think COVID, having people being home and having a shift and pivot and try new things and learn new things, I think it opened people up to stuff like this because, mental health has become such a huge thing. And I think, even though I think this is tied to it, because this is stuff that, for the longest time, people might say, what is this? What is this hocus pocus? Ain't nobody trying to believe in this or do this. But now we're seeing more people accept this. We're seeing more people preach about it. We're seeing YouTube content creators doing this, people on social media. But let me ask you this, because with anything new, and it's not new, but new in the sense of the appeal to many people now is approaching a broader audience. There's always going to be people like, I don't believe in this. What is this nonsense? Like, when you have a client who maybe never done this before, or maybe somebody listening right now who never even heard of this, or they might heard of it but think they don't know how to process it. How do you kind of tell people and show people, or even express to people that this can actually help? Because for me, I've had some experience with it, not too much, but limited. But I do think it is very helpful, and I do think a lot of people would benefit from it. But how would you, explain to people that this is actual real, science, real
Yep.
help from people.